Welcome to another FAQ Monday. I am your host, Fluff, and you know what? Mondays is probably the greatest day of the week because you get a fresh start and there's so much ahead of you and you get to go back to work. Work's great, isn't it? It's just swell. How do I make room in a mix for layered, clean, and screaming vocals? Mill, great question. So if it's a dense mix, I'm gonna assume since they're screaming, it's a metal mix. What I like to do is I like to use a widener. Don't go crazy on the widener. Now pay attention. With a mono vocal, I'm assuming they're mono or maybe they're doubled. I don't know, you didn't give much information. With the screams, I will tend to go wide. Go a little wide, spread them out a little bit. Give them some depth, give them some width, and then let the clean vocal sit in the middle of that and make the screams kind of surround the clean vocal. Make the screams give the clean vocal a hug, and they have to hug in front of a mirror for 30 minutes. And they also have to write down their favorite memories of each other in their diaries later that night. But yeah, that's what I do. Use a little bit like a Waves doubler or something like that, Ozone vocal doubler, or I don't know. There's lots of widening plug-in. Sound Toys makes one. Widen it just a little bit. I'm not talking about spreading it super far out left and right, but I'm just talking about just flattening and widening it just a little bit, the screams, to make room for the clean vocal. Why did you go with such heavy strings for your Ernie Ball tuning video? You know what? That's the beautiful thing about strings. Everyone enjoys and prefers different things. I didn't think I was going super heavy with the string guide myself. However, a lot of people thought I did. I have made a revised string guide, and I will be making a video of a revised string tension guide now that there's a lot more packs out and lots changed in the last couple of years, especially with multi-scale stuff and things like that. So I will be making an updated version and I'll be doing it slightly differently. But yeah, I was using some pretty horkin' strings on my original guide. So, we're all learning, I suppose. What's your preferred method for recording acoustic guitar? Will Carey. Thank you so much for your question. For acoustic guitars, it depends on the sound of the acoustic guitar, but I will typically like a large diaphragm condenser microphone just past the 12th fret. I kind of get, not directly in the sound hole, but kind of in the center between the sound hole where you're strumming and the 12th fret. Kind of somewhere in between that, at the end of the fretboard or something like that. And then, if possible, a pencil condenser kind of aimed, I don't know, at the first fret to get just some nuances of the acoustic guitar, some attack and things like that coming off. I don't know, you can do it a million different ways, but that's generally how I do acoustic guitars myself. If I don't have a pencil condenser, you know what? I'll make do with just a single condenser microphone, honestly. And then I'll put a little bit of room reverb on it and it's generally just fine. But if possible, pencil condenser and large diaphragm condenser microphone for acoustic guitars. What genre would you consider dragged under? I would personally say post-hardcore, but I'm interested to hear what you genuinely think. You're my favorite guitar player, hope you're well. Billy, thank you so much for the kind words. Us and Dragged Under refer to ourselves as punk pop, believe it or not. We're not pop punk, we're not Newfound Glory. We are definitely punk rock with like a poppier side, not a pop band with a punky side. That makes sense. So we're more punk than pop, but we definitely recognize that we have elements of big old sing-song melodies and big, happy, friendly sing-along parts to our nasty riffs. Although we've been called most of the time, like in the press and stuff, we're called metal or punk or hardcore punk or sometimes post-hardcore. We've been called all sorts of things, which, I get why it would kind of be difficult to peg us, but we call ourselves punk pop. I don't know why. Thoughts on the Gibson Murphy Labs? Seems very boutique. Nick, it does seem very boutique. If you're not familiar with the Gibson Murphy Lab stuff that recently came out, so Tom Murphy, who basically, he wasn't the first to do it, but he definitely made it what we think of today as relicking a guitar in a very historically accurate way. So like, you know, a Tom Murphy relic and aged guitar is not gonna have crazy wear marks right behind the bridge. There's no, that's not a real wear spot. When you're playing, your arm is not resting behind the bridge and wearing out the bridge. You're not installing drywall with a guitar, or shouldn't be anyway. Tom Murphy's aging process is very, very celebrated and revered and painstaking. And recently the Gibson released, basically you can go to their website and order a Tom Murphy aged guitar for like 9,000 bucks. You can just go add to my cart and buy it now, or order it now, which you've never ever been able to do before, to my knowledge, like that. Yes, there's always been Murphy Labs stuff, but you know, I don't think it's ever been this accessible. Tom Murphy is also the one who started, I believe he started the Gibson Custom Shop, or as what we now know as the Gibson Custom Shop. I think the guitars are cool. I think his work is phenomenal. You know, for him to take a razor blade to a brand new Les Paul, is that worth $9,000 to me? No. No, it's not. However, his craftsmanship when he builds guitars and does his thing is very, very cool. But, you know, if it's worth it to you, that is up to you. But for me, I'll shy away from the $9,000 Les Pauls. What do you like to hear in your in-ears when playing with dragged under? Very good question, Ethan. Okay, so typically the places we're playing, there's a lot of ambient volume from like the drums and the bass guitar and Sean's guitar, maybe not necessarily Sean's guitar, but I can hear the drums just fine. So I don't have any drums in my in-ears, but in my personal in-ears, I have my own guitar, my own vocal. I have a little bit of Hans's vocal and Hans's bass guitar. And that's pretty much all I ever have. I used to have Tony. I used to have Tony's vocal in my ear, but then one time he gave the microphone to someone in the crowd, and they were so horribly off time. It was it got all of us off, and we had to stop. It was bad. So no more lead vocal in my in-ears. But yeah, drums, no. Sean's other guitar, no. Just Hans vocal and my own guitar. And that does it for this episode of FAQ Monday. If you have a question, feel free to leave them on down below in the comments, or go on over to Twitter and tweet at me. I might get your question on FAQ Monday. I don't know why I'm saying like it. Fluff out. If you liked the video you just watched, please consider subscribing. And if you want to further support me and what I do, consider using some of the affiliate links down below in the description of this video. Go on over to Sweetwater, buy yourself something, and help me out at the same time. It's a win-win for both of us.